In 1984, audiences stepped into a world where imagination ruled and despair took shape as the nothing. The NeverEnding Story wasn't just a children's movie. It was a dreamlike journey through grief, courage, and creativity. Directed by Wolfgang Petersen and based on Michael Ende's beloved novel, the film captured hearts across generations. But behind its flying dragons, magical creatures, and tear-filled moments lay chaos, controversy, and some truly bizarre behind-the-scenes secrets. Let's dive deep into the making of Fantasia and uncover 15 weird facts that make the NeverEnding Story as haunting as it is timeless. The author hated the movie. Michael Ende, who wrote the original book, absolutely despised the film adaptation. He called it a gigantic melodrama of kitsch, commerce, plush, and plastic. Ende was so furious that he demanded his name be removed from the credits. The film's final script deviated heavily from his story, covering only the first half of the novel, and he vowed never to speak with Petersen again. Ironically, that fury helped keep the film's legend alive. Falkor the Luck Dragon was 43 feet long. Falkor, the beloved flying luck dragon, wasn't computer-generated. He was a massive animatronic puppet measuring 43 feet in length. His head alone required multiple puppeteers to control each facial movement. The structure was built from steel, foam, and pink scales made of sequins. Inside, technicians sat sweating under hot lights as they made him breathe. Every smile, blink, and tail wag was pure mechanical magic. Atreyu nearly drowned in the swamp scene. The famous Swamp of Sadness sequence was dangerous and nearly fatal. Actor Noah Hathaway was actually pulled underwater when his mechanical horse rig malfunctioned. He was trapped and almost drowned before crew members rushed in to save him. Despite the scare, he finished filming that same day. His tears in the movie weren't just acting. They were real exhaustion and trauma. Generations still cry watching Artax sink into the Swamp of Sadness. The truth? The horse was safely lifted by an underwater platform that malfunctioned mid-scene, causing panic on set. Hathaway said it was so realistic he thought Artax was actually dying, even though no animals were harmed. That one scene became one of the most emotionally devastating moments in film history. Falkor's flying scene took 25 takes and gave everyone motion sickness riding. Falkor might have looked magical, but in reality it made everyone sick. The puppet sat on a motion rig that shook violently to simulate flight. Each take drenched the young actor in sweat and fake wind. Noah Hathaway admitted he felt dizzy and nauseous after hours of filming. Yet his amazed expression on screen? Totally authentic. A mix of wonder and survival. The childlike empress was only 11 years old. Tommy Stronach was just 11 when she portrayed the ethereal childlike empress. Her haunting performance became iconic, yet it was her only major film role. Her parents, fearing exploitation from Hollywood, pulled her out of acting soon after. Today, she's a professional dancer and choreographer, still remembered as one of cinema's most mesmerizing child figures. The movie bankrupted its studio. The NeverEnding Story was, at the time, the most expensive film ever produced outside the U.S. It cost around $27 million, a fortune for 1984 Germany. The elaborate sets, animatronics, and special effects drained resources. The studio, Bavaria Film, nearly went bankrupt before the movie's release. Luckily, global success later saved them, barely. The original author tried to stop its release. Michael Ende didn't just dislike the film, he tried to block it. When he saw the final cut, he called it a betrayal of the imagination. He sued the producers to halt the release, claiming they distorted his work. The lawsuit failed, but the drama made headlines worldwide. Ironically, the controversy gave the movie even more publicity. Falkor's scales were made of pink. Sequins. Falkor's shimmering body wasn't paint or fur. It was covered with thousands of pink sequins that reflected light during flight scenes. The design team wanted him to look both reptilian and cuddly. Under the hot studio lights, the scales glittered like a disco ball, making him nearly impossible to film without glare. That sparkly finish turned him into one of cinema's most unforgettable creatures. The Rockbiter costume weighed over 1,000 pounds. The lovable Rockbiter, with his massive stone hands and deep voice, wasn't CGI. The full-size animatronic puppet weighed over half a ton. It had to be operated by a team of people inside and beneath it. Between takes, crew members cooled it with fans to prevent overheating. Every line he spoke required perfect timing between voice, motion, and lighting, a miracle of old-school puppetry. The nothing was just smoke, wind, and lights. The terrifying force known as the nothing wasn't digital. It was created using practical effects. The team used giant wind machines, colored smoke, and blinding spotlights to make it seem alive. Actors stood in hurricane-strength gusts while being pelted with dirt. There was no CGI monster, just chaos, noise, and imagination, proving that sometimes the scariest thing is what you can't see. 12. Bastian's school attic scene was filmed in a real abandoned building. Those gloomy attic scenes where Bastian hides to read the book were filmed inside an actual abandoned school in Munich. The crew decorated it with cobwebs, broken furniture, and dust, but much of it was already there. Actor Barrett Oliver said the place felt genuinely haunted, especially during late-night shoots. It added an eerie realism to Bastian's lonely adventure. The English dialogue was dubbed, even by the English cast. Although the film was shot in English, much of the dialogue was re-recorded afterward. The European sound stages produced echoes that ruined audio. Actors like Noah Hathaway had to dub their lines months later in Los Angeles. This led to mismatched lip-syncing in some scenes, which ironically gave the movie its dreamlike, surreal quality. 4. The famous theme song wasn't German at all. While the film was German-produced, its unforgettable theme, The NeverEnding Story, was composed and sung by Limahl, the British pop star from Kajagoogoo. The catchy tune became a global hit, topping charts in multiple countries. Its English lyrics clashed with the movie's European origin, but the result was magical, a song that outlived the movie itself. The book and movie tell two different stories. The film only covers the first half of Michael Ende's novel. The second half, where Bastian becomes a character inside Fantasia and begins losing his memories, was left out. Sequels later tried to adapt it, but none matched the original's magic. Ende once joked, "If this story is never ending, they certainly ended it halfway." In a strange way, that unfinished feeling became part of the legend. The Never-Ending Story wasn't just a movie, it was a journey into childhood wonder, grief, and the power of belief. Behind every flying dragon and glittering cloud was a crew fighting heat, machines, lawsuits, and imagination itself. What began as a film for children ended up changing fantasy cinema forever. Its magic wasn't in perfection, it was in its flaws, its courage, and its heart. Even decades later, when that theme song begins and Falkor soars across the screen, one truth remains: imagination, once awakened, truly never ends.